All right, guys, good morning and welcome back. So in today's video I want to show us how to sew our scrub for the female outfit for the hospital nurses, for the hospital, right, for nurses, right? So here I've already made the cuttings and the gumming, and this for the top and this for the trouser. So I will start with the top first, so stay tuned as you watch how to sew this. Now, I believe I explained to us all the cutting aspects, and as well, I promised us to show us the gumming. So in order to make the video shorter and faster, I have gone behind the camera and I'm here now to show you where and how I gummed. Now, this was the band, the neckline stuff I told you about. I used hemming gum to hem it, right? The one I cut by 3 inches by the length of 16 or thereabouts. I had the folding into two. I put hemming gum inside to hem. You can decide to use material gum to gum as well and fold. It's still the same thing. So now the next you have here is the pockets for the side pockets and the breast pockets, the back facing. The pockets I use hemming gum to hem all of this way, and then I also did my material gum gumming at the back facing. I also use hemming gum to hem this part. So right, so this is for that. Then the next as well is the sleeve, which I will first use hemming gum as well to hem this area as well. So that's for that. Now the next as well is the back piece, which is the real back block. So I gummed at the right side of the back block. I gummed at the right side of the back block, and then for the front panel, after the slitting, I had to gum here in order to give the cloth a perfect finishing at the end of the day, and make sure that I notch it back after gumming in this direction. So this is how you are going to do yours, and I believe this video will help you in doing that. Now for the strands, now before you start using the strands, it's advisable you top stitch the tip. Now you top stitch the tip. Now this top stitching is optional, but it gives the cloth a perfect finishing effect. So you stitch at the tip, the place of fold, you stitch all through that way, right? Then after that, you as well cut off your threads, stitch the other one as well. So after this stitching now, we proceed in joining this. So you must join this first before you do the shoulder joining on the outfit. So join from here first. All right, so now I have top stitched the tip. Now in the case of if this was to be your regular senator outfit, you can use collar gum to do this, cutting the collar gum at exact of the 1 inch you want, then gum on the layer that is coming outside. So gum only on one layer, but since it is hospital scrub, I don't need to apply collar gum on it, and hemming gum or material gum would be ideal to do this as well. So after doing that, so the next you will do now is to place this way, right? Place it this way. Make sure that this part is pushed half an inch higher than the shoulder point. Please make sure it's higher than the shoulder. Then you make sure you measure 1 inch, because that was what we agreed to have. So I have here to be 1.2, which is okay for me. So you are stitching half an inch, right? So you are stitching half an inch this way. So you just have it to be this form. So just stitch half an inch that way, or 1/4 inch as the case may be. Stitch all through that way. Make sure that your hand is straight enough. Stitch all through that way, half an inch all through, or 1/4 inch, then stitch all through, and then make sure when you get to the point of your notching, stop at exact point where your notching ended that way. And then after that, you cut off your threads, of course, cut your threads, and then you are going to turn this inwards this way, as you can see. Then you have to bend it back to enter at that notched point. Make sure that your stitching does not exceed your notching point. You are meant to notch this to get to the tip where the thread ended. Then you're done with that. Just leave it this way. Then do the same thing on the other side, pushing this half an inch higher. That way, make sure that the threading is neat enough. So you arrange it properly. Push. Okay, let me use the other way around so that that rough area will enter back. So push it this way, and then I want to stay from the back to stitch this way. So make sure you retain the same measurements as you're stitching, and then stitch all through from here. Right, stitch all through from here. Stitch all through from here this way. Stitch all through from here, and make sure you stop at exit points your notch is ended. Then after this, the next thing we do is to cut your threads as well, and then now bring it out in this form. So this is how the v-neck will look like. Then it's now time for you to carefully arrange all of this, right? So carefully arrange all of this. So you have to notch this, notch only the main outfit, don't notch the flap, right? So notch this, then notch this as well, notch here as well. And then after this, the next thing we do now is to pushing this way to go underneath. Push this one as well backwards to come this way, and then you carefully arrange them. You carefully arrange them so you tuck it in properly. As you can see how smooth and how nice this edge is. So this must be, or this will be how you will do yours. So after you must have done this, now you make sure that it's properly arranged properly this way before you start stitching. Then you raise it up. Now you must make sure you have that same must lap properly, right? So arrange it properly this way, and then cross check it from the front. So once it's nicely relaxed, so you will stitch underneath. You will stitch underneath. So you can just stitch underneath it, piece of thread, and then make sure it's relaxed. At this point, you can pin. You can just pin this, making sure it's properly relaxed. As you can see how nice this edge is. So you pin this point. It's optional though, but I think it's easier for you to handle when pinned. So you pin it uprightly, and then you raise at this point up, and then you stitch here, that tongue effect, right? So stitch it across this way. So stitch across this way. So this is how you will achieve yours. So cut off the threads as well, and then cut off your threads. So this is it. Now you have successfully gotten a nice relaxation effect at this edge. As you can see how neat here is. So this is how you do yours. Then you have to top stitch the tip of the flap this way. So you have to top stitch here. So you have to top stitch this tip. So top stitch from here. So top stitch from here across, making sure you are stitching at exact edge where the joining came, and make sure you balance it properly this way, and then top stitch all through across, top stitch all through across, top stitch all through across, and then you also come over to this side again, and then top stitch here as well, and then you also go over to this side. You can see how smooth and how nice. You cannot remove your pin. So you cannot remove your pin. Then you top stitch this area again as well. Make sure you relax it properly. So top stitch here properly, top stitch here properly, and top stitch here as well properly. So this is how it is. Then you can now make sure you cut off exact slope relation with the shoulder, right? So make sure you don't slope it down. It must continue in that same direction. So this is how you achieve your V neckline effect on your scrub. Then you must have weaved, or you must weave the inner part this way, right? Just weave it out. Then you can now cut off the excesses at this stage. You can now cut it out. So you can now weave this area. If you now wish to double thread it from here, when you must have weaved, it's now optional. So you can still double thread it after you must have weaved the underneath material. So double thread from here, double thread from here, double thread from here, all through that way, double thread from here. So you can now decide to make here a V threading than a square threading. You can just come outrightly somewhere here, right? Somewhere here, and then from there as well, you connect back to this so that it gives you a nice finishing, right? So just for you to know how to achieve this, so bear in mind that this video is solely for the illustration purposes. So just have to take your time, understand it, and do yours, and of course tell me the results or the effects you have. So this is how it is. So see how neatly sewn this is. So yours should as well be neater than this. So it's not optional to hold or to tack here. It's optional, but then if in some cases you might just want to tack it for them so that it doesn't showcase or expose their cleavage when they put it on. So this is how you work on your neckline effect. So this is for the video of the neckline. So the next you will do now is to put your pocket. Now this pocket might be inner pocket or patch pocket depending on the style you chose, but it's easier in order for you to put the patch pocket. So I will bring my patch pocket now, so which I have it to be this one. So you decide on the point of fixing. So the pocket will be positioned pushing out 2 inches from your shoulder. Then at 9.5 or 10 is where the breast pocket will be. Then you have 1.5 inch or 2 inches apart from the center line. So you just have to fix your pocket at appropriate position for you to have a perfect fitting. So I'll put in my pocket here, then stitch all through from here this way, and then stitch all through this way, and then come again to this direction this way, this way. Then make sure you always spin your needle before you stitch a next line so that you have a balanced effect. So I'm trying to make sure the threading comes out nicely. So stitch all through that way, and then you also stitch across this way. So this is how you can carefully stitch your pockets, and make sure I did not gum the pocket, rather I used the hemming gum to hold the foldings. Now the reason for doing this is to make the scrub lighter for them so that they can easily wash it and it dries off at a short period of time. So this is how we will do yours. So you make sure any threading error you have, you loosen it out, cut any error threading, and then this is how the pocket will be. Then the next you will do now is to fix your front panel to the back panel. And I know this is where most of us we have issues, or most of us we like to see how I will join the panels. So how then do you do this? You bring the facing, right? You bring your back piece this way, and then bring your facing. Now because there is no piping or bias, so you have to stitch the neck right round first, right? So just stitch the neck this way, place it this way, so 0.3 or 1/3 inch this way, stitch all through this way, 0.3 inch, go all through this way. Don't encroach much on the neck depth. Make sure that the neck depth and the stitching you're doing is corresponding with the neck measurement you have. So stitch 0.3, and then after you must have done this, so the next you will do now is to notch your neckline. So notch your necklines, notch your necklines, notch your necklines, notch them properly that way, notch them properly that way, notch your necklines properly that way, and then after which keep it that way, and then bring the front panel and then insert it inwards this way, in between the facing and the back panel, right? Insert it this way and make sure it's properly tucked in at the edge, and then hold the three pieces together, and then you sew it down with half an inch or 3/4 inch that way. Sorry, 1/4 inch rather. Sorry, not 3/4, 1/4 inch that way. Hold it down that way, and then you cut it out properly, right? Cut it out properly, and then you also do the same thing on the other edge. So you hold it down this way, right? Make sure it's tucked in nicely. Make sure it's tucked in nicely this way. So you hold it down that way, and then you stitch the same 1/4 inch that way. So make sure that the three piece is held nicely. So stitch it down this way. Then after which you now fling the back facing to go to the back panel, and this is how the shoulder and the neckline is being joined. And then this is the reason, this is the effects you will have, as you can see. So this is how nice the neckline will be, right? It won't be too big on the customer. The customer will be able to put her head inside and still lap properly. So I will show you all the effects on my client, which I will test it on her after stitching. So all you do now is now to stitch the back shoulder. Now it's optional as well to top stitch the shoulder point. It's optional. In some cases, if you notice that your material is strong, you can top stitch the shoulder. I think it gives you a lapping effect more, right? So just top stitch the shoulder points this way. So top stitch the shoulder points this way. Make sure you get a perfect stitch in there. I think it's half good off. I have to thread it, sorry. So you make sure you get a perfect stitch in there, right? So top stitch the shoulder points that way, and then do the same thing as well on the other shoulder. All right, so now I have top stitched the shoulder point, so I'm just trying to lock down the back facing, and then all you need to do is to make sure that the center fold line is corresponding with this as well, and then make sure as well that the neckline area is properly balanced this way, and then you just have to take a time to do all of this. So make sure that the back facing is not folding, neither with the back panel as well fold. So you just have to place them properly this way, and then stitch accordingly this way, and then stitch accordingly this way, then stitch all through this way, and then stitch all through this way, and then stitch across this way, and then stitch all through this way. So after you must have done this, now the next you will do is to trim your shoulder and your armhole before you proceed to the sleeve joining. So you just have to balance the neck, draw it down a bit, and then go to your table and then iron down the shoulder and then trim. So let me go and iron and show you how to trim as well. All right, so now I have ironed the neckline, and then I want to trim the shoulder. So you just have to fold it back into two this way, and then measure from the center fold at the back. Then the shoulder they gave us was 16, that's 8. Then add extra half to it, that's 8.5. Then I am trimming from the 8.5 all through down this way. Then make sure that you don't exceed the front armhole depth. So this is the trimming I have. Then after this, then you notch this point, notch this point, notch here as well, and then please fix your sleeve. All right, so now the sleeve joining, you must have trimmed your shoulder like I have shown you. Then you notch your sleeve and then place it at the two notches together. The two notches must correspond this way. So you place the two notches together and then you trim your sleeve, right? So you must make sure you get them nicely done this way. So you get it from here and then start from that point and then start fixing your sleeve. Now this sleeve must be fixed from the center half that way to this other side. So you take a time in doing this. Make sure everything is nicely arranged, right? Don't forget, please, to click on the subscribe button on the channel. To subscribe is free. Our channel has now gotten joining the membership option. For some of us that want to support my brand, please kindly join, and then you will get to access more of my videos that is coming up soon, right? So let us learn together, right? So this is how it is. Then I am trying to join the last panel of the sleeve from the center, join the center fold as well, then join all through that way, join all through that way, join all through that way, join all through that way. So after you must have done this, so that's the first sleeve. So you also do the same thing on the second sleeve, so which I will do and show us the results. All right, so now I have weaved my armhole. Now I want to mark the closing. So right here I have, okay, before then, let us put the pocket at the down. You know, we had a pocket that should be placed at the front panel of this top. So all you need to do, I have already gone as well with my hemming gum. So the position is actually optional, but then let me tell us the minimum gap apart. So I am going to measure from this part, from the the breast pocket, 7 inches down is okay. 7 inches down from the breast pocket, then from the center fold, 1.5 inch apart, right? 1.5 inch away. So this is how it's going to be. Then 1.5 inch away. Then I am going to start from there. Then I can still decide to push it up a bit so that I will have enough allowance at the hem side to fold. So from this I can measure 5.5 inches depending on your top length. Actually, that's the factor that will determine the extent of your placement. 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch is okay for me. Then I am stitching there, this part. So I'm stitching from here. Now this pocket is to be placed at the body and not the side, right? For this particular scrub, though some other hospitals do have their preferences, but then if you are going to go with this, place it at this position I have stated. Then after you must have stitched at this point, then you keep it off this way, keep it off this way, and then this is how it will be. Keep it off this way, right? This is how it will be, and you stitch all across, stitch all across this way. So you're also going to repeat the same thing on the other panel on the other pocket as well. So just cut off your threads, cut off your threads, and then make sure that the both pockets are positioned at exact point this way. Make sure that the both pockets are nicely positioned at exact 1.5 inch away. So measure before you start sewing, right? Measure, then make sure it's straight enough as well. So this is the position it will be. So I will stitch down from there. So I will stitch down from there. So I will stitch down from there, 1.5 inches, right? So at this case, you can pin to make sure you have a nice position. So stitch from here. So if you are making hospital scrub, this is one of the simplest ways as well you can make yours, and then get to see how this is done as well. So you stitch all through across. So we are done with this. So this is how the front panel pockets is positioned, right, at the front. So some hospitals might decide to make theirs at the side, so you can as well go ahead to place yours at the side, but my customer wanted hers to be in the front this way. So let us now lock the body. So you fold it back again this way. So you apply the round sleeve, which I think we had 14 when we were stitching, 14 inches round sleeve. Then you make sure you also close with the body measurements. So 14 inches, you apply the round sleeve from here. 14, that's 7, right? Into 2, 7. So you stitch from here. Make sure that the connection that comes from the round sleeve to the bust measurement is straight line. Don't sew curvy. Straighten the sleeve and then connect it with a straight line, and then coming to the bust measurement and to the shape area and then to the hip points, you can now curve as the body shape of your customer is. So you make sure you stitch here, and then that's for the body closure. So if you notice, what I had sewn here is 1.5 inch, which was what I used in the same inseam allowance when stitching or when I was cutting, right? So this is how to close the side. So I will do the same thing on the other panel as well, and then go to fold the sides. So I believe with this video now, most of us can boldly stitch our scrub and then make something similar as well. So I will be ending the video after I have tested it on my clients to see the results. So I will just stitch all through, then make sure you mark out the same measurements you use at the other side. Then the sleeve joining must correspond, so you stitch all through this way, and then try to retain the same curvy nature, right, on the shape and of course on the hip area. So this is just how we can close the outfit. So I will go and weave now, hem it, and then I will come back and show you the finishing on my client. So let me go and weave and show you the results. But before then, you cut off your threads inside, cut off all of this, make sure they are properly cut, right? Cut them off. Then this is the looks of the scrub of my customer, right? So this is how it looks like. All right guys, so now we are done making our clothes, our scrub for our nurse. As you can see here, we have beautiful nuts with us. So this is the scrub. So turn around, let them see the back. So this is how the fitting is. So for the video, I believe most of us we would have by now learned how to do this. So this is how it came out so nice on the body. Thank you guys for watching.